Hi everybody, this is kitchen placement part 2. So in part 1, which you can see in a prior video, was from 8 weeks until about 3 months or so. And you can see how I started to teach Rune to stay out of my work area. So I consider my work area, I have a kitchen island, so I consider it the working space where you go. So this is outside my kitchen area. So here is Rune, he's 4 months old. I keep this mat here so he understands where I want him to start off. I don't necessarily need him to be on that mat. I don't want him in my workspace. So I'm making his food. Notice I'm standing now behind the behind the island. He tries to come back there, and all I need to do is give him a little bit of a verbal cue now. So he's starting to understand that. He goes to play with the camera guy here. But this is the first time where he's really starting to get it. Now he's sitting here, he came out, I didn't have to say too much. And again, I'm not giving him a lot of eye contact, because if I did, I might be encouraging him to come around. So I'm trying to stay as serious and as on task as possible. And he's being very good. So again, I don't care if he jumps up, as long as he puts himself into that controlled sit. I gave him a tap and he goes to eat his food. So that's great. Okay, so now again, so here's my kitchen. This is where I want Rune to be, out here. I don't want him to be here near the stove. I don't want him to be back behind the island or on this side. So that's all the where I don't want him to be. Now, one day I got ambitious and I decided to clean out the contents from underneath my sink. Now, when I did that, I was on my hands and knees behind the island, where Rune thought this was a game that I was hiding on him. So he came back here after all of that training that I had done with him prior. So what I had to do was to put up some visual barriers. And this is not a big deal. It's an in-between step. What I was doing, hiding behind the island in his eyes, was really enticing. So all I had to do was put up some visual barriers and, say out, give him the verbal reminder, and he was fine with it. He didn't jump over it or anything. So that's what I would call an in-between step. And in this picture here, he was 5 months old. So for all of you who ask me how I get training into a regular day, I really try and incorporate everything, well, not everything, but a lot of what I do. I try to make it a training session so I can double up on it, because, there's only so many hours in the day. I understand, time is precious. So this is me on my hands and knees making dinner. I'm making meatballs, and I'm on the floor. So because I was videoing by myself, I actually had to call Rune to me. He was being good, and then I had him, he was being good on the other side of the island, but so now he's in a down. Now he's watching me making meatballs, and I'm singing. I don't make it a big deal. I occasionally give him eye contact. I am definitely watching him on the corner of my eye for any, if he decided he was going to get up and start coming over to me. Now I'm upping the ante again, and I'm hiding behind the island making meatballs. And now you can see he's curious, but he puts his head down. So he's really understanding he is not to get up and go behind there. So now I take it a step further. I slide out the meatballs back into view and continue to be making noise and being kind of interesting to him. And again, his head is on his foot here, so he is not indicating at all that he is going to be getting up. So this is the final picture of what I expect my dogs to be able to do by, the end of that. Well, he's 9 months in this picture, but by the end of the first year, I expect my dogs to, I have gone step by step, and I started when he was 8 weeks old. I stayed very consistent. I gave him the helper steps in between with the visual barriers when I started, when I was hiding behind the island. So all of these things help build this successful picture as far as being in a safe place when I'm cooking.